Hi there, I'm Gary and welcome to my channel. Now today I wanted to talk to you about kind of my journey on YouTube, and I wanted to do it for two reasons. Firstly, if you're already a subscriber or a viewer, it will give you some idea of why I do what I do. And if you're not, then maybe it gives you some ideas about how you might want to pick up YouTube, particularly in your, let's say, later years. And I'll explain about that a bit more in a moment. First of all, can I ask you just a quick favour? If you enjoy the video today, do please remember, give it the old thumbs up, click on the notification bell for more videos, and of course subscribe to the channel. It's free and it's a great way to show your support. Okay, so let's start out with how I got here. Okay, well, perhaps skip the creepy birds and bees things about how I got here and move on 35 years or so. And when I came across a company, that's a stock photo agency that I joined. The idea of a stock photo agency, if you don't know them, is that someone phones them up saying, have you got a picture of such and that? And you say, yes, I have. It will cost you this to reproduce it. You give them a picture, they print it in whatever publication or online or whatever, they pay you, you split that with the copyright owner. You're an agency, okay, so that's how they do it. But ours was all about science and technology and medicine, because I'm a bit of a science geek, as you will probably know if you've seen my channel. So there I was, and started to work there. I stayed there 24 years. I really enjoyed it. My job towards the end was negotiating contracts with institutions, so I worked really closely with guys like NASA, European Space Agency, European Southern Observatory, several observatories around the world, CERN in Geneva, all sorts of people, working with them, getting images and handling the legal side of things, including copyright compliance, by the way. So that was all grand. I travelled the world. I had an absolute whale of a time. I've been to Hawaii 4 times for work, which means it all got paid. I had a business meeting with a guy whilst we were snorkeling off the coast of Kona in Hawaii. I mean, dude grew his own coffee. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I've been to Houston, flown the space shuttle simulator, done all sorts of amazing things, met some of the greatest scientists in the world, Nobel Prize winners and the like, and just had an absolute blast. Kind of offset the fact that the pay wasn't brilliant, but you know what, I had an absolutely great time. But after 24 years, things were, there wasn't so much travel and things were a little bit more tricky. So I then got a post working for an educational charity, creating a competition for science photography and then organising an exhibition based on the winners of the competition. And that was great fun too. Tons of independence. I was essentially my own boss. Well, I was obviously responsible to other people, but pretty much my day-to-day work was my own business, and that was fantastic. Not great pay because it was at an educational charity rate, but we got by, and life was great. But then, of course, along came COVID. Now, a lot of origin stories will eventually hit. Along came COVID, because it messed up a whole load of stuff. One thing it definitely messed up was my job, because I was put on furlough for ages, and then when the furlough ran out, we tried scrabbling around getting sponsorship. Money was tight everywhere, couldn't get the sponsorship, and so I was made redundant. So there I was, 60 years old essentially, without a job, in a marketplace where there were millions of young people trying to get jobs as well after the COVID had done what it done to our economy. Not a great place to be, not a most competitive place to be. So I didn't know what I was going to do. Well, one thing I had been doing during the COVID lockdown and the furlough times, I'd started making videos on YouTube, just because I know a bit about videoing, I know a bit about editing and things like that, and how to use cameras. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go. And those of you who've been with me from a long way back, like 3.5 years back, will know I started off by making videos about gardening. Hi, I'm Gary. I'm just an ordinary bloke doing stuff. Today we're here in the garden to talk about growing one of the simplest and quickest crops anyone can grow anywhere. That's radishes. Okay, how to grow tomatoes, how to grow beans, how to grow radishes. They weren't great videos. I got to tell you, they were rubbish actually. By the way I look at videos now, they were, no, horrible. I think the best viewed one has had like sort of 340, 350 views in 3.5 years. Not the greatest. Of course, now, hopefully, it's going to be, you're going to be on there looking for it and it's going to pump up and I'm going to make some more money on it. Let's hope. But you know what I mean? 3.5 years ago and it's still 342 views. I'm not Monty Don, so I'm not going to make a business out of that. But anyway, it got me into using YouTube and then kind of get used to the processes and things like that. And then one day my stepson was visiting once, you know, the lockdown part of COVID has disappeared. I was still furloughed. And he noticed all of the plastic model kits I'd been building as a hobby while I was off work, essentially. And he said, you know what, you can probably film making those and put those on YouTube. And he came back a few days later and said, you know, I've been checking it out. There's loads of people who make plastic model kits on YouTube and publish videos and they get this many views and that. You really should look into that. And so I did. And that's where I started. And my first video of plastic models was the 6th of August, 2021, where I did the box opening on the then brand new Airfix 1/48 scale Chipmunk, and the rest, as they say, is history, and I've been doing it ever since. So that was that. So, as I say, fast forward 3.5 years, and here I am now, 63 years old, 20,000 subscribers and more, and sort of pretty much approaching the sort of income I used to get when I was working for an educational charity. So, not so bad. Easy, okay? Well, kind of not, actually. Now, I would point out my situation was pretty unusual in that I took to YouTube without having a backup. Now, most people who start on YouTube have something else going on. Either they're working and they do it in their spare time, or they're studying and they do it in their spare time. But essentially, YouTube starts as a secondary occupation, a hobby almost. You know, just something that takes a bit of time and get used to it. Do something for fun whilst during your leisure time. And that's great because you've got that other job to support you while you're doing it. My circumstance was I didn't have that option. I had to sort of hit YouTube running and try and get monetized as soon as quickly and try and get my income up as quickly as I can. And that gives you a whole load of other priorities in what you do. So if you're coming at YouTube from the position of, I've been made redundant, I don't know what I'm going to do, YouTube looks interesting, you are going to be making decisions that are very different to people who are, do you know what, I've got a lot of spare time on my hands at the weekend, maybe I'll take up YouTubing. Trust me, it's a very different world, but not necessarily a bad thing. If you're choosing to monetize your hobby, as I did, pretty much quickly you'll find out YouTube will view what you do as quite a niche video, okay? You won't be earning a lot per 1,000 views. It's called the RPM, revenue per meal, 1,000 views. It won't be very high at all, unless of course your hobby is real estate, or it's stock market trading, or your hobby is being an American with a lot of guns and a gun range to try them out on. Otherwise, things are probably going to be quite a hard push. Because it is my livelihood, I put in a lot of hours into this. I have to put in 50 to 70 hours a week, 7 days a week I'm working on this, because I need to generate the content as much as possible to please the YouTube algorithm that runs the whole system and essentially decides how much you get paid by what sort of adverts you have, what the demographics of your viewership is, and things like that. If I were in a different area, I would probably, having done like 700 or more videos so far, I'd probably be pushing like close up to 100,000 subscribers by now, maybe more. But as it is, I've got 20 or so thousand, but that's because what I do is quite niche. And what you discover is that sometimes you have to go away from your core business, your core produce, into other areas. Okay, so one thing is I started doing more informational things. It can be quite disheartening at first when this happens, especially if it's, your hobby really is a passion like mine. So I'll do a model making video, how to make a model kit. It will take me quite a long time to make the model, and it takes me time to edit it, put it up, get nice voiceovers, get a nice track, everything's all grand. I put it up online, and I'll get 3,000-4,000 views or something, which is not a lot. It barely covers the cost of the kit in revenue. I'll then another day, usually sort of late November, do a video with a kit and say, hey, Aldi are selling these kits at $6.99 each. Did I say $6.99? Yes, I did. And where are they? They're at Aldi. So go to Aldi. These are $6.99. Do that for 5 minutes. 150,000 views. How what's the logic? You can't find the logic behind this. Basically, information is king, and telling people stuff and giving people information is king. I do a Monday Matters show. I show on Monday Matters. Every Monday I do a thing about this is what's new in model making. This is what's new on my channel. And it's now pumping up to like 5,000 people a week. And that's grand. It's getting quite a nice community of people coming in. But 5,000 people doesn't bring a lot of income in. Trust me, not for a day's work. So you have to try and expand. You have to try and look at other things you can make videos of. And that sometimes is where the trouble starts. Okay, so last week I did earlier this week, I did a couple of videos about Donald Trump and tariffs. The first one was not too bad. The second one, I've had, 1,200 views. It's lost me 7 subscribers, and it's earned me about £1. So most of a day's work, lost me 7 subscribers, and earned me £1. That's not great. So, no more Donald videos. I promise you, no more videos about Trump and tariffs and all that nonsense. Okay? What it does bring, however, is quite astonishing amounts of bile from some people. Now, some people get in touch and leave comments and say, oh, do you know what, mate? Kind of not for me. There's a lot of this stuff outside already. If I were you, I'd just stick to what you know. And if you can't do anything, maybe try this, maybe try. Really good, nice, constructive criticism, which is superb, which is what I want from people. Then there's another people who get on their keyboards and, oh boy, do they go for it. How dare you do this? I'm absolutely disgusted you've tried to do this. If you don't do model making again very, very soon, I'm going to unsubscribe. So there, haha, send. It's difficult to get stuff like that. You may not understand this. It may be quite a surprise to 1 or 2 of my viewers, but actually content creators are human beings as well. And sometimes that really does rankle. When you're taking a risk, you're putting yourself out there, and you get really unpleasant stuff coming back. I mean, quite honestly, everyone I know, the first thing they're going to do is think, this is what I think you can do with your comment. As far as I'm concerned, you can take your comment, wrap it up, and then sideways. But of course you can't. So you just have to take a deep breath. Remember that these keyboard warriors don't actually normally subscribe to your channel. A lot of them definitely are not channel members or channel donors or anything like that. They're getting this entertainment for free. And if you don't entertain them, they're going to get very, very, very angry about it. Bless. So you have to just take a breath, step back, and get on with things. Sometimes you make a choice and it works and everything's grand. Sometimes you don't and you get flamed for it. but you've got to try. The point is, you have to try these things, because I've got to tell you, the biggest people on YouTube, and I'm talking about people like Mr. Beast, earning gazillions a year off YouTube, I would say none of them are doing now what they did when they started YouTube. I think Mr. Beast was doing videos about playing Minecraft or something like that. Okay? Everyone I know who's making proper money on this has shifted their focus several times. Might be gradually, might be a completely new thing. Sometimes you can come up with an idea and it's a great idea, a great concept. You do a couple of videos about it, they go crazy, and you can then just migrate them to an entirely new channel. And that's great. The only problem with moving to a new channel is that you have to go through the monetization process on that new channel. So you have to get 1,000 subscribers, you have to have 4,000 watch hours within 12 months, and you have to have an account with AdSense, which is the payment mechanism. But if you've already got a channel, you've got an AdSense account anyway, that's easy. And if you've got that many people that you want to hive off a new channel, you're going to get 1,000 subs will migrate with you, and they'll watch 4,000 viewing hours within a few days. So it's not the end of the world, it's just a bit more admin to do. Otherwise, you can keep it on your channel and just do it as different playlists. I mean, as long as your thumbnail tells people what is coming, frankly, no one forces them to watch your videos, all right? If they watch it and then get angry, but it tells them at the beginning what the video's about, you kind of think, well, don't watch the video then, dude. Just look for videos with models on, or look for videos with this on, or that on. That's the way it is. You also, on YouTube, and another thing that actually upsets some people is you need other monetization methods. So, for example, channel memberships. My memberships come at $4.99 a month. People become channel members. They get a special video once a week. That's kind of the deal we have at the moment. I'm working on other things we can do, maybe other levels of membership in the future with more feedbacks, more benefits. I don't know. I'll see how that goes. But you do these things. You have super thanks, so people can just drop you. So look, bottom line is dropping you a tip for what you do. Because if you're not paying for it and you enjoy something, there's nothing wrong with slipping someone a few dollars or a few quid or whatever as a tip. Saying, do you know what? I've really enjoyed it this week. Bing. There you go. There's a couple of bucks. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't have to do it, but there's nothing wrong with accepting that. Likewise with Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee and Ko-fi, things like that. You know, buy me a coffee. You know, here's a coffee. It's not a coffee. They're giving you a couple of quid, but it's wrapped up in the concept of, you know, buy you a coffee, give you a drink, give you a tip, and that's fine. Some people, if you mention that, some people get really angry that you dare to mention the fact that you might actually want to make money on YouTube. But you put up with it. You just say, either ignore them completely, which is actually the sensible and grown-up thing to do, or just say, well, you're not paying for this, it's free. Other people are supporting you, so maybe just sort of batten it down at the moment. Thank you very much. There's other things like running raffles, selling stuff on eBay. You know, all of it. It's like a portfolio of income you have to generate. Every month, my actual viewing income from views, and the way it is that you see adverts and YouTube get paid for those adverts, and they shed out some of the money to the people who make the actual videos. Okay, so you earn a bit of the income from the advertising. That is now probably about half my monthly income. The rest of it is channel memberships, donations, sales of things, and so on and so forth. So about half of it is actually from creating YouTube videos. Some people, some channels, it's way, way, way heavier. The donation side of things is way heavier, especially if you're very good in America. If you're popular in America, Americans have this habit of tipping, this culture of tipping, and they're happy to just bung little bits of money in. And it's really generous of them and really kind of them. Unless you're a YouTube premium member, which you pay for so you don't see ads. By the way, we also get a little shell of that money coming in from premium, but you know, that's not very much at all. It's like about 0.5% of my income a week. But unless you're doing that, you're really not paying for the content that you're enjoying. And, that's cool. We get a lot out of it as well. But we get some people paying us in. But, you shouldn't be offended if we remind people every now and again. You're not going to throw it down, shove it down your throat like 5 times every video. But don't get upset if, like, at the beginning of the video, at the end of the video, just say, by the way, here's a link to some other ways you can support the program. But that's how it is. That's how you have to make money in YouTube land. So there we go. That's kind of where I am at the moment, how I got here and why I do a lot of what I do, even if it upsets some people. It's just the way it is. Now, as a lot of you will know, my father passed away last year. Part of his legacy is in the new production room that we're building at the end of our garden. Some people call it the North Wing. It is kind of grand. It looks pretty cool. It's a little bit more than a shed. I've done videos about the building of that, and do you know what? No one seems to mind. No one's gone off in a huff, or a minute and a huff, as Groucho Marx would have said. They're building videos. They don't relate to model making in the slightest. On face value, you can just watch them as building videos. And I won't mention model kits once during the build. It's got nothing to do with how a cold roof or a warm roof are made, or whatever, the building regulations, whatever it happens to be for that episode. People accept that that's there. It happens to have the connection that's where I'm going to be making models in the future. But everyone seems happy about that. So that's a good thing. And that's great. There's no reason why we can't have more videos like that. And I will be doing other videos during the year. Even when the North Wing opens, which will be from the time I'm recording this, hopefully, maybe just over a week away. Once I get back in there, I can start making build videos again. I can do more box reviews. I can do more interesting stuff. I will also be playing around doing stuff against green screens, just doing some funny things. Later in the year, I'm going on a holiday. Well, I'm going to shoot it while I'm on holiday and make travel videos about it. Might be interesting to see. But, hopefully it won't be polarising people like anything like politics does. So I'm going to stay well away from politics, I promise you. But I will be doing things like that. I will be trying to grow my channel. I will be trying to diversify the people that are coming to my channel for videos, because that's the way to make an income on this channel. That's just the way you have to do it. But you know what? Maybe I'll hive them all off onto a separate channel one day, and Gary's stuff here will just be model making, and Gary's other stuff, or the rest of Gary's stuff, or Gary's second stuff, whatever the channel happens to be called, will be all the other things and bits and pieces that I do. But again, I'll have to make sure that monetizes as well as this channel does before I do that. But hey, one day maybe that'll happen. I don't know. I hope it does, because it means that these other things have picked up as well, and I can run both. That would be ideal. But we'll see how that goes. So look, in conclusion, if YouTube for you is a hobby, it's a sideline, it's something you do to use up a few hours at the weekend, do you know what? I'm actually really, really jealous of you, because you get to make all the calls without any other consideration or indeed any other care in the world. Good for you. I'm as I say, I'm well gel, as I once heard a teenager say. But if you're going to make it your significant or your sole income like I have, you are going to need to play the system, and you are going to need to make some compromises in what you do, and you're going to have to take some risks, some of which will pay off and some which won't. And let me tell you, when they don't pay off, it's not the best place in the world to be. But I don't want to leave you on that. I want to leave you with a message, and that is, I love my job. I love what I do now. I love being a YouTube content creator. I love the experiences it's brought me to. I'm at a level where people like Airfix invite me to press events. I can get to chat with members of the industry like Valeria from ICM, and from Luke from Revell, Dale and the team at Airfix. I get to chat to them about the thing I love most, which is model making and the model making industry. I love doing Monday Matters. That gives me such a buzz to do that. I adore doing live streams like I will be tonight. I absolutely love those. Twice a month I do them. They just give me such a buzz. Everything about YouTube gives me still a buzz. So don't be put off by a lot of what I said to you before. As I say, I really got serious about this when I was 60. Not quite silver haired yet, but not far off it. You can too. You can do this at any age. You can do this when you're young, when you're a student, you've got time on your hands at the weekends or whenever. You can do it when you've got a job, as long as, on the side at weekends again. You can do it at any age. There's no barrier to it. The 20-year-old fashion influencers don't have a monopoly on YouTube. There's a lot more of us around, us old people around on YouTube, sharing our experience, sharing our knowledge, and having a great time doing it than you might imagine. There's no reason, if you want to do it, why you shouldn't. Thanks so much for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Remember, if you have, thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to show your support. Hope to see you again on the channel very, very soon. Take very good care now, and goodbye.